Hi Scorpio, welcome to your end of July 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. I was saying to myself, did I do Scorpio? And I hope I didn't, but you'll get a bonus reading if I did, I guess. You know, that happens once in a while. Usually somebody points it out to me. And I have to eat a little bit of crow, but that's okay. Okay, da-da-da. All right. All right. So I usually do the heart of the matter first, but I'm going to do the past position. The Page of Pentacles can indicate some kind of message that has come through. This is something that would have already been the case. It might involve financial news or a new job or something like that. And if it's a new relationship, whether you're talking to somebody, because, you know, Page, there might be a lot of communication with this person, or something along those lines. The bottom line here with the centerpiece of the Ace of Swords, it's like you're waking up to something and it's like everything is becoming clear. Your path is starting to become clear, Scorpio, because you now see things as they really are. So something may have, or someone may have been deceptive, for instance, and you had to kind of get your head together out of that confusion in order to really perceive a situation as it should have been perceived. And this allows you to move forward, so that's a good thing, because you may have doubted yourself, you may have second-guessed yourself. Sometimes it can even be crazy making, because you can feel like you know the truth and yet you're being gaslighted by somebody. And I have been pulling this Ace of Swords card over and over and over again. And one reason I think that I've been doing so is I think that people are starting to wake up in general to their life. In terms of like what we've been through in 2020, I think has given people a lot of time to think, especially those people who were so caught up in just everyday living that it kind of forced them to have a little bit of a time out, if you will. You know, somebody like me, I'm always, you know, now that things have kind of opened up again, I was thinking, gosh, you know, things are not really any different for me. I just like the freedom, though. I mean, yeah, there are still differences, of course, but it's a little bit better. But for other people, it has been even more of an adjustment. So, the higher message is the Ten of Cups. So this can benefit not only you, but your family. This is a marriage card. This is the card of the pot at the end of the rainbow. So it's like happily ever after. And, you know, that's kind of like a fairy tale idea, concept. I think that life is a lot more, you know, the sweet has to be balanced with the sour. You know, we have to be able to, you know, the shadow exists, and I think Scorpios are well equipped to understand that they're not afraid of you know, when life gets a little bit heavy, because you just are naturally acclimated to the more intense emotions of life anyway. And that sparkly rainbow doesn't necessarily, that might not even appeal to some of you. But what I think this card means is that the idea of having your dreams come true and being able to live life the way that you have envisioned it can, to me, only come about when you start to wake up to yourself. And that's how I see the Ace of Swords ultimately. Yes, of course, sometimes it can be realizing that somebody that you're with is not on your side, is not a good influence on you. Or that you have discovered that they've done something behind your back. Yes, and that could even be in the workplace. But I think ultimately, when we understand who we are at our core being, we're able to walk our path. And that's really what, when I see the Ace of Swords, I think of like, you know, like in those movies, Swashbuckler, I don't know if it's that type of movie, but you're going through a dense forest and you're taking a machete and cutting all the overgrowth. That's how I see the Ace of Swords. So it's like walking this new path, but it's cleared out. So the swords relate to the mind, and the mind has to become clear of the clutter of denial and indecision in order to fully, in order for you to fully start something new and feel like you really have a clue of like where you're going, what you're going to do, what the agenda is. And it might even be like a new relationship with somebody, and you have that feeling that you know what you want now. So if the Page of Pentacles is some message or beginning of a relationship with somebody who's an earth sign, so be it. Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. And you're able to proceed with a sense of clarity. What crosses you is the Two of Pentacles. So, you know, it makes me think that maybe this is more of a work situation. So, you know, let's say that you got furloughed. And I'm sorry if I keep talking about this situation that we shall not name, because I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I want to be kind of like bringing up something that might be actually what's happening for you. So let's say you got furloughed or whatever, something along those lines where your hours were cut or you just were put on hold, and you kind of like had this idea. Maybe at first you were telling yourself, you know, these an alternative narrative. I think about myself when this all happened, and this was like mid-March where I live. And I remember, I don't know, maybe I was in denial, but I was thinking, because I had heard them say like 2 weeks, and I remember feeling the sigh of relief. Okay, 2 weeks, I can handle 2 weeks. And then when they said it was going to be longer, I knew. I was like, oh crap, they're gonna do this for months. I just knew it, because you know, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but then I realize, and I know when the jig is up. And so, I mean, that might have been with your workplace, that you initially, you believed them, and then they just kept postponing your start date again or whatever. And then perhaps you applied at another place and you've heard from them. And maybe the Two of Pentacles is now you have, now your place of business has reopened, or they have allowed for more people, and they've called you back, and you're like wondering, should you take a new job? And it doesn't have to be exactly along these lines, but if it's something similar to that, then you know, that might be what you're doing. Or if it's the same company, maybe they say, hey, you can come back, but you have to go to Timbuktu, you know, from United States. You have to go somewhere really far away. And because the Two of Pentacles can be accepting a job offer overseas, but you're not sure, should I do this? what is coming in, or the advice, is the Hangman. And this is a card, if it's describing what is going to happen, it could be a situation of being left in limbo, like there is no forward movement, you're just kind of in this holding pattern. If it's in terms of advice, you could say that the Hangman, I would say one big thing is surrender. If there's nothing you can do outwardly, then you can surrender, which means that you stop trying to control the situation, even by worrying about it. That's, to me, a form of control. Sometimes people think, well, I have to think about this constantly, because if I don't think about it, then I'm completely neglecting this very important matter. But thinking doesn't solve the problem unless there's something you can really do. If you know there's nothing you can do on your end, then the best thing is just to let it go and let go and let God. And that means that you're turning it over to a higher power. Or if you consider yourself a co-creator with God, saying, I have done my part and I'm going to let the universe do its part. The outcome is the Star card. So, I mean, to me, this is your wishes coming true. This is faith in unseen forces. Maybe loved ones who have crossed over, who are helping you, who are rooting for you, who want you to have happiness in life, like the Ten of Cups. If this is if this is like a relationship issue, and maybe the odd Scorpio person who is in a extramarital situation, I say odd because I think the average Scorpio person would not get involved. Not to say, oh, the person would be evil if they were involved in it. No, not saying that. But just saying that Scorpio tends to be a sign that understands karma. Because Pluto, or in the Tarot, the Judgment card is connected to karma and also to Pluto. You know, that you reap what you sow. And you might say to yourself, you know, I don't want somebody to do that to me, so I'm not going to do that to them. But there are kind of mitigating circumstances. Maybe somebody lied to you for a long time and now you're in too deep. So in that particular case, you may feel like you're being jerked around. And the Star card is about healing, is about a belief that you have the power within you. Maybe you've been in a weakened state for some reason. And you have been doubting yourself, like I said, from a past relationship perhaps, who knows. And the person doesn't know what they want. Maybe they are the Two of Pentacles. Maybe it's somebody who's a Taurus, your opposite sign, with the moon in, you know, Gemini or something like that, where they just vacillate from what they want and they're leaving you hanging in the wind. Or somebody who was with you and then they go back to their ex. You know, we had the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, so these kinds of things are certainly possible. By the way, Mercury has gone direct, but it hasn't stopped kicking my butt technologically. So I don't know about anybody else. It's not coming out of its shadow until the end of July. So I'm hoping everything gets sorted out for me before then. But yeah, so perhaps there's a loved one who's crossed over who's helping you, Scorpio, and maybe you need to tune into unseen forces and understand that the universe is conspiring on your behalf, even if it feels like, you know, if this is a job situation, you're getting jerked around. The pot at the end of the rainbow. Just keep your eyes on the prize of what you're looking for. The Star card is about also feeling a sense of renewed faith after maybe the dark night of the soul or a unwanted situation, but perhaps now feeling like things are looking up. And, you know, I hope that they are. I hope that they are for you, Scorpio. You deserve it. Okay, that's what I have for you. If you'd like a personal reading, Scorpio, the link to my ordering page is below. I really thank you for watching this. Take care. Bye.